Good morning and welcome to the latest edition of Central Coast Newspaper's Video News. I'm Jackie Pearson. It's an interesting occasion. We're not doing an interview today. We've decided to update you about the decision made by the New South Wales Planning Assessment Commission to recommend approval of the Wallarah to Longwall coal mine. Now, this coal mine has been an issue of local importance for at least a decade. The organisation behind the proposal to mine coal very close to centres of population growth is Cores, a Korean-owned company. In 2011, the then leader of the opposition, Barry O'Farrell, promised that the mine would not go ahead, said it was a guarantee that if elected to government, Wallarah 2 would not be approved. No ifs, no buts. Now, several years and several premiers later, we have a recommendation to Anthony Roberts to approve the mine. We've so far heard from David Harris, the member for Wyong and Shadow Minister for the Central Coast. He has been a long-term anti-Wallarah 2 warrior, and he is basically has responded straight away by challenging the Premier of New South Wales, Gladys Berejiklian, to go against the PAC's recommendation and refuse the mine. We've also heard from former Mayor of Gosford, life member of the Liberal Party and former Gosford MP Malcolm Brooks, who has said that the region's precious water catchment and its very limited and precious rural land should not be compromised by this project. So let's first of all look at the reasons why the PAC has said yes to this proposal, and then we'll look at the arguments for and against the mine. It's our intention to keep following this story for our readers and our online audience. It will be covered extensively in both Coast Community News, the print version and online, and of course in the Wyong Regional Chronicle, because it is the population of the Wyong region that will be most impacted by this project if it goes ahead. The PAC has stated in its 60-page statement of facts and in its media release announcing its recommendation to approve the mine that it will create 300 permanent jobs during its 25-year life and another 450 jobs during the construction phase. So it has proclaimed that Wallarah 2 will be in the public interest. It has stated that the other major benefit of Wallarah 2 going ahead is the substantial royalties that the New South Wales Government will receive over the life of the mine, and that the quality of the coal that will be extracted from the Central Coast water catchment area is such that it will provide a quality product during what it acknowledges is a global transition to a non-coal economy. It has also extensively set out conditions that Cores will have to comply with in order to ameliorate or manage the risks involved, and it has acknowledged those risks. It's not saying that they're not there. It's not saying that this mine is proposed to be located in a very sensitive location. It's simply saying that it believes that the risk is not substantial, and it believes that the conditions that it's put in place can ensure that those risks are managed. So what are those risks? Well, David Harris and the Australian Coal Alliance have been fighting the mine for a decade, and their reasons are that it is located in the Central Coast's water catchment area, but specifically in the part of the water catchment area that is where all the precious springs are located. I don't think it's well known that the Central Coast water supply is 60% spring fed. It's not reliant on rainfall, it's reliant on groundwater and an aquifer water supply. Now, a of mine that Corres will be operating in the Juralong and Yarramalong valleys is a longwall coal mine. Now, that means that it's basically a system where as the coal is extracted from the face, the land collapses behind the arms of the mine. And subsequently, that causes subsidence. And when you have springs and groundwater, the ground under those springs and groundwater collapses and the water escapes and can't be easily replenished. It can't be easily put back. So the PAC has found, based mainly on evidence provided by Corres, that any water lost from the springs as a result of that subsidence, as a result of that very well known process, can be replenished. Alan Hayes from the Australian Coal Alliance says that's preposterous and will not happen. Subsidence is definitely an issue, but there are also the issues of noise, light, and more importantly than those two, air pollution. The mine is to be located in an area that is also earmarked by the New South Wales Government for significant population growth over the next 20 years. So the New South Wales Government's Central Coast Regional Plan has these competing, I suppose, propositions of increasing the supply of housing and population in that area, but also having a mine where the main mechanism for transporting the coal to the railhead will be along a conveyor belt, and coal dust will definitely be an issue. Air pollution will definitely be an issue. Those who have not responded to our request for information at this stage, but we will be chasing them and asking them for clarification of their position, include Sean Gordon, the CEO of the Darkinjung Local Aboriginal Land Council. Mr. Gordon is not making an official statement on behalf of DLAC at this stage, but he has taken to Twitter to make his personal views about this decision very clear, and he is not happy. His concerns all along have been about the impacts on the water supply, the impacts on the community, but also the sterilisation of some very precious land that Darkinjung intended to develop for both commercial, industrial and residential purposes. And basically he's been, and Darkinjung have been consistently fighting this proposal also for a decade. We've yet to hear from Mr Scott MacDonald, the Parliamentary Secretary for the Central Coast. The one sitting government member, Mr Adam Crouch, has not yet released a statement. Central Coast Council has released a 3-line statement to say it's very disappointed in the PAC's recommendation, so we're expecting more detail from them. And based on responses late last week, the newly elected Central Coast councillors are still waiting to be briefed before they can give their official responses. So we go to press with the Wyong Regional Chronicle today, and we'll be working hard to keep you up to date with any developments. That's all we know to date. But certainly there are community groups, particularly the Australian Coal Alliance, working on this issue. The Community Environment Network we have not heard from at this stage, and we are yet to hear from the local Greens. So we're expecting that those community groups who are meeting at the Arimba RSL on Saturday the 26th of January will not take this lightly, Alan Hayes from the Australian Coal Alliance has already said that they're planning a legal challenge to the PAC's recommendation. So this story is far from over. That's it for now. Thanks so much, Jackie.